everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise. We've moved up to everybody's second favorite weekly baseball history podcast. It's a meteoric rise. My name is Jeff. I'm one half of the show. Joining me, as always, a little bit more healthy this week is Mark A. Johnston. Mark, glad you're doing better.
Oh, thank you very much. I feel a lot better. I sound better. If my life was better, it'd be great. But, you can only have so many things getting better.
Well, we're going to talk about baseball, and that makes everything better. You know, pitchers and catchers report in like 2 weeks.
I know. I'm excited.
Spring training has already begun in Japan. I saw a picture from I don't remember which team it was, but it was so cold that they put all their broken bats in a barrel and lit it on fire to stay warm. I think maybe you need to find a warmer climate. Like the Korean teams go to some of them go to Arizona to train.
No kidding.
I think that would make more sense. Or, Japan, they get a lot of domes. Why don't you just train in the dome? I don't know. All right, but let's get into BP right away. There is some actual other baseball going on. The Caribbean Series now is going on. That's I think it's on MLB Network. I saw some of that.
Is.
I wanted to talk about that because something incredible happened that you'll never see happen in Major League Baseball. At least I hope not. But Jesus Vargas of the Venezuelan team had a no-hitter through 8 innings. But in the bottom of the 8th, Venezuela was the home team. Alexi Amarista for Venezuela hit a 2-run home run. This is against Japan, by the way, which is not, this is not Team Samurai. It's just, I'll explain what their team is like. But this is against Japan. That 2-run home run by Amarista made the score 10-0. And in the Caribbean Series, at 10-0, at that point in the game is a mercy rule. Game over.
Oh, no.
No hitter. I mean, maybe they have different rules where they'll count that as a no-hitter. But in Major League Baseball, that is not a no-hitter because it is not 9 innings.
That's right.
But I did say it was against Japan. The national team in Japan here in the Caribbean World Series is just made up of players from independent leagues. It's not, like I said, Team Samurai. You don't have Shohei Ohtani and all these other guys. It's, as I said, independent guys from the independent league, such as Munimori Kawasaki, who we talked about last week. He is on that team. And as we talked about, he's been playing for this independent team for like 6 years. So that is the kind of quality. I don't want to say quality, but I mean, that's the level of players that are on this Team Japan. It is not what you think of as a Japanese powerhouse.
That close to the Caribbean, respectively.
No, not really. Yeah. And I think I mentioned it on stream last week. I'm like, because I just don't remember Japan playing in this series before.
No, me neither.
And yeah, that is, they're a ways off, I think.
Yes.
Maybe they go through the Earth to get there, as opposed to.
Okay, yeah.
Well, true. If the Earth's flat, though, you can't do that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to upset any flat earthers that might be listening to the podcast.
There's got to be a few.
Yeah, I'm sure. One of the teams during the winter ball was managed by Albert Pujols down there, and they won the championship of their league.
I saw that, yeah.
And I found a Albert Pujols story. I don't know if you're new here, we every now and then talk about Seinfeld on this show.
Every once in a while.
But there is a great episode of Seinfeld where Kramer promises a sick kid that Paul O'Neill's going to hit a home run, and then he promises him 2 because 2's better than 1.
Yes.
So Albert Pujols and his wife have a child with Down syndrome. And when he was with the Cardinals the first time, there is every year they have a day raising funds to help try and cure this disease. And one of these times he went out there to catch the first pitch from a girl with Down syndrome that threw out the first pitch, and she asked him to hit a home run.
Oh, wow.
Well, he did on the first at bat. Next year, there's another girl that's there throwing out the first pitch. She asks him to hit a home run. He obliged.
Wow.
So it became kind of a thing. Like the next 2 or so years on this day, he didn't. But then the next year, and they keep asking him. Right. The next year, though, he hit 2. Nice. One of which was in extra innings, I think, and something like that. But he has got a knack for hitting home runs on that day. And that's great because these kids are asking him, and I mean, they're kids. They're probably expecting, him to do it. Although the article did say he never said yes. He just kind of nods his head. Sure.
Okay. That's probably a good call.
Yeah. But Albert Pujols is, obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. He obviously won't be a unanimous one because nobody is except for somebody that we can't talk about right now.
That's right. Nobody is unanimous anymore.
And, this writer still hasn't come out. The one person that didn't vote for Ichiro still has not come out.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't either. Of course, I wouldn't vote that way.
I know, but I think they, as we said last week, they have something to answer for.
Absolutely.
Because if you do not think Ichiro Suzuki is a Hall of Famer, there needs to be some serious consideration as to how you are maintaining your vote.
Yes. He has some splaining to do.
Yeah. We know that this has been a thing throughout the Hall of Fame. But in recent years, the fans are clamoring for it. The Baseball Writers Association is fine with everybody knowing who's voted how. It's like I said, it's the Hall of Fame that's holding it up. This is ridiculous if you got people like Ken Griffey Jr. and Ichiro, and I'm going to take it back to Ricky, clear first ballot Hall of Famers who every single person should be voting for, and yet they're not getting those votes. It's a flawed, very flawed system.
Yeah, and there's no accountability. So
yeah, there isn't. As long as the Hall of Fame says that we're not going to tell you who everybody voted for, there is zero credibility. That's a great point.
Yep.
Let's talk about somebody else that isn't playing baseball anymore. JD Martinez. He was just playing last year, but he is no longer, and he's picked up a new hobby. And he's already picked up a sponsor for this new hobby. He is now a professional pickleball player.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Besides hand-eye coordination, I guess you've got to have good hand-eye coordination to play baseball. He might be a great pickleball player. I don't know. If he's going pro, he must be okay at it.
Right.
But good for him. He's got a sponsor already. I do watch pickleball. I've never played it, but for some reason, I'm fascinated by watching it.
I played it a lot back in the day, and actually,
you're an OG pickleballer.
I did. I did not win the school championship. I came in second to the guy who was my doubles partner.
How long has pickleball been around?
Oh, quite a while, man. We had a whole thing on badminton and pickleball. It was a whole semester.
I thought you just had those barrels, the rings with a stick, and you would roll those. I thought that was the only sport you had.
I wasn't any good at that for some reason.
Okay. There's our obligatory Mark is old joke for the pod.
Who's your favorite pickleball player? Is it Max Mantel?
It's JD Martinez. If I have to name one, and
I'm
only
a big Max
one.
Mantel fan.
Yeah, I don't know any pickleball. I watch it, but I couldn't tell you a single person.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Another guy that's not playing baseball anymore. Has another career, though, a very successful music career. And has got one heck of an album cover that I think we've talked about at length before. Ruben Sierra holds a major league record that I did not know. I thought Mark Lemke held the record for longest streak of plate appearances without being hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
His whole career, essentially.
Right.
1,023 games, 0 hit by pitches. Well, Ruben Sierra was hit by a pitch in 1990 against Cleveland by Sergio Valdez.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. 1990, this was his 5th year in the game. Rubo played for a long time. Didn't get hit by a pitch again until his final game in 2006.
Wow.
That is 1,463. That's 3 whole seasons longer than Mark Lemke's streak.
No kidding.
5,764 plate appearances.
That's amazing. You think this on accident.
Yeah. Ow. And he's a power guy. So you would think guys, I haven't looked at his hot zone, but most power guys, you try and jam. You don't want them to extend their arms. So you got to pitch inside. But this also does not include his All-Star game or playoff appearances, of which there were many. Never hit by pitch there either.
Wow.
But what is weird is looking at these other two names underneath. So it goes Ruben Sierra, Mark Lemke, and then Jose Cruz, 974 games, and Eddie Murray, 970 games he didn't get hit by pitch.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Lemmer, sure.
Yeah.
Although you could pitch him inside, you're not really afraid of him hurting you. But those are some weird names to be on that list. I did not.
I remember Jose Cruz had an interesting stance, and he was pretty far away from the plate. So that kind of makes sense. But still, that's a long time. You would think that somebody would have got plunked at some point, with an ephus or something.
Yeah. Eddie Murray is a switch hitter. But I guess you just pitch him away. I don't know. He's a Hall of Fame hitter. I don't know. This is something that I found on social media, and this was done by a programmer. He put work into this. His name is Travis Youngroth, Jungroth. I want to make sure I get that right. He did some coding to get this done. But apparently there has been a player with the last name of Reed, R-E-E-D, in Major League Baseball every year since 1958 until last year.
Really?
Yeah. Now, that's not even close to the longest streak, though. Do you have a guess what the longest streak is? And it's not Saltalamacchia.
Oh, that's where I was going. You want me to guess the name?
Last name, yep.
Hernandez.
Hernandez, there's been a Hernandez in the league since 1965.
Okay.
That is number 9 on this list. 9th place. Rodriguez is 10th with 1967.
Those are my two guesses.
The name that there has been a player continually every season in Major League Baseball since 1907, Johnson.
Okay.
Johnson.
That's a pretty good name.
I mean, this is a laundry list of the most common American and Hispanic names. It goes Johnson, Miller, Jones, Jackson, Smith, Davis, Martinez, Perez, Hernandez, and Rodriguez.
Johnson. Yeah, well, if you had a T in it, it'd be a perfect name.
Yeah, no Johnstons.
No.
Well, I mean, there have been Johnstons, right?
There have been.
Do you know of the Johnstons that have been in Major League Baseball?
I can't think of them off the top of my head. None of them have been superstars.
Let's see. Mike Johnston, Joel Johnston, Greg Johnston, Rex Johnston, Jimmy Johnston, Wade Johnston, and Doc Johnston.
Doc, that's a sweet name.
None of these were 1800s, though. Johnston seems to be kind of a more, I guess, modern last name.
Yeah, I don't want to get into this.
Well, you were the first one, right?
We talk about this. Yeah, we talk about this on our podcast about genetics.
Yes,
so I don't want to get too far into it, but I don't think we're all related.
Sponsored by 32 and Me or whatever that is.
Yeah, there are Welsh Johnsons, there are Scottish Johnsons, and Welsh Johnsons, and English Johnsons. So,
well, Doc Johnson was a first baseman in 1920 with Cleveland and won I think that was the last time Cleveland won the World Series.
Well, maybe they need another Johnston.
Yeah. He had an 11-year career, all of it just about with Cincinnati. With Cleveland. All right. Brother of Jimmy Johnston, by the way, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys at one point. I think Miami. And no, that's not him, because this is from the 19 teens.
It's Johnson, man.
Yeah, these are other guys. All right. That's going to do it for our BP segment. Mark, let's get right into the meat of this episode. Now, this week, yesterday, as a matter of fact, we premiered a new video on our YouTube channel. It is a YouTube exclusive. You're not going to get this information here if you're looking for it. You'll get some of it, but not all of it. I got to, tease you. What I did is I was interested. I was looking up the best last seasons of players in Major League Baseball. And I got thinking of it because I was just kind of remembering David Ortiz. He had a great season when his kind of retirement tour.
Yeah, he sure did.
Besides collecting a lot of great gifts from teams as he went around the league, he had a great year. I think he finished 7th in MVP voting. I mean, just good year.
Yeah.
I At that point, I wanted to know, was that the greatest last year of all time? It was not. But he is in the top 10, according to me. So what we're going to do here is I had done a lot of research on this. This video took me like a month to do. And I didn't want it to be 2 hours long. I wanted to cut it down to 20 minutes. So what I had to do is I had to cut a lot of players. And so what we're going to do here today, we're going to talk about those players that I cut. And then for that top 10, that final top 10 list, you're going to need to go and watch that video, of which you can find links in the show notes, and just go YouTube. I'm assuming everybody's subbed to our channel anyway.
Let's hope so.
You might even be listening to this podcast on YouTube, because you can do that. We're going to go through it, and I'm going to talk about the players that did not make that top 10 list. So let's get right into it. Now, first of all, I did disregard some players right off the top. These are players that have been banned, essentially, or blackballed. Now, if you watch the video, you will see somebody that is banned in that video, you will see somebody that is banned in the video, and I explain why I added him. But let's go ahead and just talk about some of these other guys, because we generally don't talk about some of these guys at all because of reasons. But there are reasons that just can't be overlooked sometimes when we talk about these kind of things. One of which is Trevor Bauer.
Right.
Especially since he copyright struck us for his crappy band that we played a little for.
Yeah, come on, man. What's up with that?
But if you remember, and he did just re-sign with the Bay Stars in Japan, where he played 2 years ago. And then he was the pitcher of the year in the Mexican League last year. Now he's back in Japan this next year. And but he finished the COVID shortened season in 2020 with a league leading WAR of 3.0, an ERA of 1.73, and he won the National League Cy Young Award that year. But the temperamental Bauer was passed over as a free agent because of off-field allegations and some very questionable social media posts. And as we mentioned, just an awful band that somehow put out an album.
Get the band out there. Come on.
Eventually, though, the Dodgers signed him. He proceeded to pitch very well in 17 starts with a whip of barely over 1 for a starter. That's great. Yeah. But on July 2nd, 2021, MLB placed him on administrative leave while conducting an internal investigation about some assault allegations against him. Eventually, he was suspended for 324 games without pay for violation of the league's assault policy. That is the longest non-lifetime suspension issued in Major League Baseball history. In late 2022, he was reinstated, but the Dodgers released him, said, we're going to wash our hands of you. No other Major League team has offered him work since. At the time of his suspension, though, his final year in Major League Baseball, I'm assuming and hoping forever, he had a WAR of 3.1. which is higher than his previous Cy Young Award-winning season.
Right.
So you can see he is a talented pitcher. Just we know there are some bad guys in baseball. Speaking of other bad guys, and this is going to be the only time we talk about these guys, frankly. Wander Franco. We'll keep this short. The only other contemporary player that is on this list for me, a would-be franchise player for the Tampa Bay Rays. Franco really looked to be one of the next big stars in baseball.
Absolutely. He was young, and boy, could he hit.
Yeah, he signed an extension as a rookie worth $182 million over 11 seasons. The Rays were betting the franchise on this guy. His first year in the big leagues, they're like, let's sign you up for 11 more, bro.
Yeah, that wasn't the best bet.
No, this was the largest deal for anybody with less than a year in the big leagues ever. Franco continued to impress a couple years ago during the World Baseball Classic. He played shortstop instead of his usual second base. He was named to the MLB All-Star Game. Just a rising star, part of not just the Rays, but MLB's marketing campaign for young players. But in August, he was placed on the restricted list under the same policy that was used with Trevor Bauer. Franco is currently in the Dominican Republic, where he is from, awaiting trial. His final season in the big leagues, he showed that potential for just such a high ceiling with a 5.5 WAR, 17 home runs, 58 RBI, 30 stolen bases, and he slashed .281, .344, .475. but don't be like Wander Franco. All right.
No, another thing about Wander, real quick, is I've never seen anybody's baseball cards fall as rapidly.
And they were going for a lot.
Oh, they were huge. Getting a Wander Franco or getting in a break and having Tampa Bay was a big deal and cost you. But boy, nothing could have been worse as far as his cards go. They're a dime a dozen now.
Remember we talked about it? I found a story about somebody that had won a Topps contest where they got a game-used piece of equipment, and it ended up being Wander Franco's pants.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's bad luck there.
Yeah.
Well, players involved in the Black Sox scandal, which I talk about on the video, didn't get to play again after the 1920 season. That's right. They played, all except for one, played in the 1920 season, but at least they were still walking the planet. Baseball players are not immune to freak accidents or hardship, but death by gruesome farm accidents or typhoid fever aren't that common today. But there are some players who were near or at the top of their games when they unfortunately passed away. Thurman Munson, obviously one of those names. He was the heartbeat of the Yankees for all 11 seasons that he was in the big league. 1969 Rookie of the Year, 7-time All-Star, 1976 American League MVP, unquestioned leader of a Yankee squad that won back-to-back World Series in 1977 and 1978. And was the first Yankees team captain since Lou Gehrig retired in 1939.
Wow.
So there was 30 years that they didn't have a captain, but Thurman Munson was, I know how important he is to Yankee fans and especially the team at that point. Munson began learning to fly small aircraft so that he could fly and see his family on off days. The Yankee front office was not fans of this, and they were worried that, quote, he might not be as good of a pilot as he thinks he is, end quote. So they even contemplated trading him, their captain, just to get him to stop flying.
Wow.
They were not happy with his skill, I guess. I don't know if somebody went up with him one time and like you get off the plane and you kiss the ground kind of thing. I don't know. But on August 2nd, 1979, during an off day, Munson was practicing takeoff and landings, but failed to extend the flaps while landing, causing the aircraft to descend too much and slam into a tree, burst into flames. Munson was unable to free himself before he was engulfed in the cockpit.
Yeah, it's a very sad story.
Yeah, that's awful. Before his passing, Munson had posted a 2.4 WAR in 97 games as one of the league's best defensive catchers and is still revered today as one of both the Yankee greats for both his play and his toughness.
Absolutely.
Also, another name we've talked about here before, Ray Chapman. A lot of baseball fans know that name as being the only major leaguer to die from an injury sustained in a game. I learned there's been a good number of minor leaguers that passed away during a game. He was a shortstop for Cleveland all 9 years in the big leagues. Chappie was a popular player with a great eye at the plate. He was an accomplished bunter, led the league 3 times in sacrifice bunts. But on August 16th, 1920, Chapman stood at the plate in the Polo Grounds. They're playing the Yankees. Carl Mays was on the mound for the Yankees. He was a submarine pitcher who was also very well versed in the art of doctoring the baseball with dirt, spit, tobacco juice, licorice juice, any substance he could find on the floor of the dugout, I guess, is what I'm getting at here.
Yes.
We've talked about at this time, this was common practice, being able to do stuff like this. But also, umpires kept the balls in play as long as they could because, now you're going to want to sit down for this, owners were cheap and wanted to save money.
What?
I know, right? Well, this would often lead to balls being covered in all of these substances, causing it to turn darker as it was continually used. And as games went into later innings, it got darker, no lights at this point. The ball became harder and harder to see in those waning hours. And, well, we know what happened. Chapman never saw the pitch that Mays threw that afternoon. Batting helmets weren't a thing for another 30 years. The pitch struck Chapman in the temple, fractured his skull. He fell to the ground at home plate, and the last thing he did, he mumbled, "I'm all right. Tell Mays not to worry."
Wow.
Before he fell unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital, underwent emergency surgery, but passed away later that night. Ray's numbers that year through 111 games were pretty common for his career. A lot of walks, not a lot of strikeouts, a 303 average, and a 4.0 WAR. Cleveland went on to win the World Series that year. Oh, he was teammates with the Johnston, apparently.
Yeah.
And they dedicated the accomplishment to Chapman. So we've covered a player who tragically involved in a plane accident. Boats equally as deadly. Several players have lost their lives due to boating accidents. The most recent being Miami Marlins up-and-coming ace Jose Fernandez. I don't even think he's up-and-coming. He was an ace at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was only 23 years old as well when he passed. Nicknamed Nino, he had already proven that he was one of the best young pitchers in the bigs, being named National League Rookie of the Year in 2013. In just 4 seasons, he had a 38-17 record and a career ERA of 2.58. So yeah, he was already an ace. After returning from Tommy John surgery in 2015, he went 22-9 and struck out 332 batters in just 247 innings, leading the National League in his final season with a 12.5 Ks per 9.
Wow.
That's Nolan Ryan-esque right
yes,
there.
It is.
His excitable personality endeared him to fans, but often ruffled feathers of the old school gatekeepers. On September 25th, 2016, Fernandez and some friends were out late aboard a boat off of Miami Beach. Traveling at a high rate of speed, the boat hit a jetty. Fernandez and 2 other men were found, unfortunately, deceased at the scene. Reports are Jose was piloting the boat when it crashed, but family says he was not. He was also well over the legal limit for alcohol if he was driving the boat at that point. At the time of his passing, he was a 2-time All-Star. He was wrapping up a 16-8 season and was second in the National League with 253 strikeouts and a 4.4 WAR. This is unfortunately not the first accident due to a boating getaway, I guess. We've talked about this. I know I remember this very vividly. Steve Olin also passed away during a boating accident during spring training in 1993. He was with teammates Tim Cruz and Bobby Ojeda. Tim Cruz also unfortunately passed away. Ojeda suffered injuries but recovered to play 2 more seasons in the big leagues. The 3 had been drinking while out on the boat and did not see a dock on the lake until it was too late. Their boat collided. They just didn't see it because the boat was kind of tilted upwards because they were going kind of fast. It was late. They were looking into the sun and they just didn't see this dock in front of the front of the boat. Olin and Cruz were the first active major leaguers to pass away since the aforementioned Thurman Munson in 1979. Olin was only 26 years old and was proving to be very valuable in the Cleveland bullpen, particularly against right-handed batters. In his final season of 1992, he appeared in 72 games.
Wow.
That's a lot of games. With a 2.34 ERA, 29 saves, and a 2.7 WAR. The last 2 players in this unfortunate category had short but impressive careers as well. Frank Ulrich, also known as Dutch, he pitched for only 3 seasons for the Philadelphia Phillies, but in those 3 seasons, the Phils never finished above 6th. But it was through no fault of Dutch. He took the ball as both a starter and coming out of the bullpen as needed. And in his final season of 1927, he went 8-11 with a 3.17 ERA, which at that point equated to a WAR of 4.6. That's more than 2 wins above replacement than his next highest teammate. But during the offseason, he was stricken by tuberculosis as well, and a case of pneumonia in both lungs. Ugh.
Wow.
He fought for a year, but finally succumbed to his litany of health issues.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that just sounds so painful. That's awful.
Yeah, it does.
The last person that I want to talk about would be number 1 all time if he wasn't banned from baseball. It's a pretty big thing to have to stick on the end there. But yes, he was banned from baseball. His name was Jim Devlin, So I'm kind of calling him maybe a dishonorable mention that should be included in the video. But Jim Devlin, Louisville Grays, everything happens in Louisville. I'm telling you. I'm sorry, Louisville. That's how they say it. In just 3 years in professional baseball, Devlin won a staggering 72 games. He started 153 and finished 151 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. He led the National League in innings pitched in both 1876 and 1877, partially because he pitched all but 3 of the Grays games in 1876. He was the only pitcher on the squad in 1877. So he pitched every single inning in 1877 for that team.
Goodness gracious.
And his arm was apparently still attached by some miracle, I guess. Yeah. By mid-August, though, the Grays had opened up a 4-game lead for the pennant and then went 8-12 down the stretch, finishing in second place in the National League behind the Bostons by 7 games. It's what it says in Baseball Reference, the Bostons.
The Bostons.
Like the Athletics next year.
I guess so, yeah.
And Ichiro before that.
Yes.
Just one name. Devlin, after this 18-12 stretch, was spotted around town sporting new fancy clothes and jewelry and eating at some expensive restaurants while only making $2,000 a year per his Grays salary, which is about $60,000 today. An investigation was open, and Devlin admitted to throwing games. He was immediately banned for life by President William Hulbert. Devlin appealed for reinstatement every year for the rest of his life, but was denied. His final season numbers, which included games he intentionally lost, remember, were still just unfathomable. He led the league with a 13.2 WAR. 13.2. 35 wins and a 2.25 ERA. Well, again, pitching every single inning the team played. And still only gave up, this is incredible, 140 earned runs in 559 innings pitched.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible, right?
Wow.
That 13.2 WAR is the third highest single season total in the history of the game. Now, I don't know why I wrote that, because I don't think that's true. Walter Johnson holds the top 2 spots. In 1913, he had a 15.2, and the previous season, he had a 14.3. But if you look at Jim Devlin's stats, the 1877 is when he had a 13.2. 1876, he had a 17.5 WAR.
Wow.
That's like half of the White Sox win totals for the entire year last year. For offensive reference, though, Babe Ruth's highest WAR season was in 1923 with a 14.1.
Huh.
If you look at his page, it's only 3 years, and the first year with the Chicago White Sox of 75, he went 7-16, but he had a 1.93 ERA.
Yeah.
So not bad. But then the next 2 years with Louisville, he went 65-60, which is, it's barely 500, but with a 1.89 ERA. 1,000
games.
Yeah, in 2 years, 1,181 innings pitched. And he only gave up 248 earned runs, only gave up 7 home runs his entire career.
Wow.
His career home runs per 9 is 0.0. He gave up so few and pitched so much. Think if he would have not thrown any of those games, he could have.
No kidding.
He never led the league in wins, but led the league in losses twice.
That's ridiculous.
That is just a crazy, crazy guy. So he didn't make it, but the number 1 person is very close to that stat in the last season of their career. So again, if you want to know who the actual top 10 players are, go ahead, hit up our YouTube page. I'm really proud of this video. If you like this podcast, you'll like it. So please go check that out. I really enjoyed making this video. It took me quite a while, but I'm enjoying making these videos. So please go check that out again in the show notes, or just go to our YouTube. Go to YouTube and look up Two Strike Noise. And please, if you could subscribe and like the video, leave a comment. That would really help if you like it and leave a comment. I would really appreciate it, and I will come visit you and shake your hand if you do that.
I just like to say I won't, so you don't have to worry about that.
You're not going to watch it or like it or comment?
No, I'm not going to go shake anybody's hand. I just wanted to, so people don't feel like threatened.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to shake your hand because I don't shake hands. I do the fist bump because I didn't like germs well before COVID.
Before it was popular.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. But all right, that's going to do it for the main segment today. Let's go ahead and get into the final part of the show. It is time for everybody's wax-based 1v1 contest. It is time for Wax Pack Heroes. Stars in his eyes. Wax Pack Hero. Gonna pull a wax back hero. Stars in his eyes. Hero. On a podcast tonight. All right, Mark, I had a big win last week. I needed it. It was a rain-shortened game, but I needed it. I'd lost a couple. Looking up at the scoreboard, it's 14-12. We're playing to 20. I'm hoping to wrap this up before the regular MLB season starts, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. But I still have some of these cards from last week. They are 1990 Donruss, so we're going to go with that. And if you are new here, this is how we play this game. We're going to essentially play like the card game War, but we're going to use baseball cards, and we're going to be using Baseball Reference War in this case. So we're each going to have a card. We're going to go 1 against 1, and whoever's player has the highest WAR for the year of the card, which, as I said, in this case is 1990, will win that round. First one to 5 wins the game. So a couple of other things that can add or subtract to that total. We're calling them 80s baseball aesthetics. That means things like real stirrups, glasses of any sort, whether they be big science teacher things that you need just to see, or sunglasses, anything like that. Eye black, Brady Anderson sideburns. That's more 90s baseball aesthetic, but you get the point. As well as mustaches. That's an automatic 10th of a point. But if they're really good, like Jim Devlin, he would get 2/10 of a point of mustache. Good, thick lip coverage there. That's all an extra 10th of a point. But if we see something like 2 and 1, something that we don't like, we're going to minus a 10th of a point for those. Any awards were won that season. So Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, Gold Glove, or if they were an all-star, you're going to get half a point for each of those. If there's a Hall of Famer on the card anywhere, even if it's not their card, you're going to get a whole extra point. If either of us pull Ricky Henderson, I automatically win that round. Either of us pull Nolan Ryan, Mark automatically wins the round. Any pop culture references we can easily find, that's a half a point, unless they appeared on Seinfeld, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or The Simpsons. You get a whole point for each of those. And if they were suspended during their career or appeared on the Mitchell Report, that is a minus a half a point. All right, Mark, let's open up these cards. They're glued a little bit less than they were last week, so maybe that's a good thing. All right, Mark, I've got some of these 89 cards. I've got some on my left and some on my right. Which one would you like?
You've been going with left. I've been going with right. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this time, and I'm going to pick the left.
All right. Well, I think you're going to rue that decision, at least in the first round.
Uh-oh.
So you have got, now pretty sure, though, that he was involved in the Reds' hot, I was going to say fiasco, but it is definitely not a fiasco. Here, outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds, Herm Winningham.
Do you remember Herm? I mean, I'm assuming it was Herman.
Herman, his middle name is Son, S-O-N.
Huh.
I wonder if he's got a sister and her middle name is Daughter. I don't know. But you are correct. It is Herman Son Winningham. Overall, 9 years in the big leagues, 4 with Montreal, 4 with the Reds, and then Boston and the Mets for a part of a season each. In 1990 with Cincinnati. Why? I don't think about it until I say 1990 in Cincinnati, and then I go, ugh, bad memories. Let's see. Overall, 256 average, 314 on base, 425 slugging. That's not too bad. But then you look at his numbers here. 3 home runs, 17 RBI, a 98 OPS plus, and that is a .3 WAR. I don't see it here in his bio, but I'm pretty sure I remember him in the Reds hot video, so I'm going to give that to you.
Okay.
So that'll be a positive .5 for the Reds hot video there. Let's see. Overall, What did he do in that World Series? He hit 500. He only had 4 at-bats, but he had 500 against the A's. First round draft pick 3 different times. First of all, by the Brewers in 89. He said, no, thank you. Then the Expos drafted him in the first round later that year. In the secondary draft, he said, no, thank you. Then the Mets drafted him in the first round in 81, and he said, thank you. And he took it.
Yeah, there you go.
He went from the 19th to the 15th to the 9th overall pick. Let's see. Oh, get this. He was traded by the Mets with Hubie Brooks, Mike Fitzgerald, and Floyd Yeomans to the Expos for Gary Carter.
Wow.
I think that worked out pretty good for the Mets there.
I think Mets fans I think they're fond of Gary Carter, if I remember right.
I think so. Some of his teammates maybe less so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nothing else pop culture-wise, but you do get the Reds hot. So that'll be a 0.5 for you. But you are going up against a guy that I think I'm going to win just with pop culture references. It is no other than Vincent Edward Jackson, a.k.a. Bo.
Yes. I think he's got a few, he appeared in a few different commercials, movies, TV shows, advertisements, you name it.
And last time you got him, you asked if you got credit for being in the Football Hall of Fame, and I said I'd have to look it up. I did, and yes, I do. No,
that was for Dion.
Oh, was it for Dion?
It was not in the Hall of Fame.
I think I'll skip it regardless, but I'm not too worried here. 1990 was his best season in the big leagues.
Great.
Wow. His prior season was his only all-star appearance, but he led the league with strikeouts with 172 strikeouts.
Ooh,
that is a lot of left turns to the dugout. But let's see. In 1990, he hit 272, 342 on base, 523 slugging. He had 28 home runs, 78 RBI, 15 stolen bases, and a 142 OPS plus, which is good for a 3.5 WAR. We don't even need to look up all the pop culture stuff.
Just say Bo knows.
Bo knows that he won this round pretty easily, is all we're going to say. I think he was a better football player than he was a baseball player.
Yeah, but I think so too.
All right. So I'm up 1-0. Let's see here. Your next guy is a guy we've talked about. We talked about him with Bobby Valentine when he was on, and you're going to get some good points just by looking at this card. It is catcher for the Rangers. He might be Italian, not sure. It's a Gino Paciali.
Yes, and his brothers Mario and Luigi.
I know. I mean, we know how much Bobby liked him because Bobby likes any Italian that's in baseball, as he should. Right. He's a proud Italian. But let's see. Gino Paciali, overall 12 years in the big leagues, caught a lot of Nolan Ryan fastballs. A lot of them.
He did. He sure did. 9
years with Texas, 3 with Toronto. He came up with Toronto. 1990, his age 30 season with Texas, hit 255, 357 on base, 302 slugging, 133 games. He was their number one catcher. Let's see. No home runs. In 1990, 0 home runs, only 21 RBI. Wow. Huh. I mean, this was a time when the offense was great if you got it, but again, you wanted just a catcher back there that was good at catching. 87 OPS plus for a 0.7 WAR. But looking at this picture, you're going to get 0.2 of a point for his mustache. This is a full body shot from distance, and it's very prominent.
Yeah, if I remember right, he was the master of the mustache.
Yeah, well, he's Italian.
Yeah.
And he's got real stirrups on. So that's going to bump you up to a 1.0 even, just from looking at this card.
He was drafted 5 times.
None of them in the first round, though.
First chosen by the Dodgers, but went to City College, and then 15th round pick, Rangers, and the Rangers had drafted him again.
This is a good career. Good. Let's see. In 87, catching Charlie Huff, committed 4 pass balls in one inning to tie a major league record. Well, poor Ray Cat was trying to catch Hoyt Wilhelm in 1954. The record was later tied by Ryan Lavardway of the Red Sox trying to catch knuckleballer Steve Wright in his first major league start. Probably had never seen it from him before. Caught Nolan Ryan's 300th career win. Got that going for him.
That's very nice.
Son of former minor league first baseman Gene Petralli. But it doesn't look like there's really anything here that's going to help you out more than that. But you're at a 1, and you're going up against one of your guys, and he also has a fantastic mustache. It's Kevin Big Mouth Bass.
Ah, yes. That'd be largemouth.
Oh, largemouth? Is Big Mouth,
Yes.
is a Big Mouth
Big
Bass
Mouth
not a thing?
Big mouth should be like Lenny Dykstra.
We can say that. We can say whatever we want. Let's see here. Overall, Bass, 14 years in the big leagues, 10 with Houston, 3 with the Giants, and then Baltimore, the Mets, and the Brewers for parts of seasons. 1990 was his first year with the Giants. It wasn't good. 252 average, 303 on base, 402 slugging, 7 home runs, 32 RBI for a 96 OPS plus, but his defense, not so much. Great. Minus .4 WAR. That's below average. Or at least below replacement. Let's put it that way, but it's not good. 1 point was traded for Don Sutton late in Sutton's career. I don't think he's going to be on many shows that's going to help me get out of this hole and beat you. I think we had to mention this because I know we've talked about this many times. Cousin of football player James Lofton.
That's right, yes.
But yeah, nothing else there. So that is going to go to you, and we're tied up at 1 apiece. All right, next, I thought of this guy just the other day. You have outfielder for the Mets, Mark Carrion, my wayward son.
I remember that guy. Yes, Mark Carrion. I had forgotten about him.
Let's see, Mark Carrion, 10 years in the big leagues, 5 with the Mets, 4 with the Giants, and then Detroit and Cleveland for 1 apiece. In 1990, hit 250, 312 on base, 473 slugging, 10 home runs, 26 RBI for a 114 OPS plus and a 1.1 WAR. Not bad. That's his career high. Or no, he had a 1.3 the year before and then a minus 1.3 the next year, followed by a minus 1.2. But then, forgive me here, 3 years later, he had a 2.9 WAR. So, late career resurgence there for Mark Carrion. Let's see. So 1990 was a 1.1. He does have a mustache. It is a very common. He looks like a teenage mustache. You're not going to get any extra points for that one.
Yeah.
He'll sell you some weed out of the back of his van with this mustache is basically what I'm saying.
Interesting. Carrion has the most pinch hit home runs for the New York Mets with 8.
Really? Because they had Lenny Harris for a while, and Lenny Harris was the king of pinch hits, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Carrion was named in the Mitchell report.
Oh, wow. He didn't get a lot out of that.
No, he really did not. That's going to hurt you. That's a minus half a point there. Also spent 2 years playing in Japan for the Chibalote Marines, and in 99 was reported missing by his mother, but later found safe. That's all the detail we have. My mom wouldn't know if I went missing. That's weird.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't either. My mom wouldn't know if you went missing.
She probably would not. I should text her. Just let her know I'm okay.
Yeah, once a week at least.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to win this one after that for sure. I've got an MVP card. It's my guy, World, Kevin Mitchell. I think we had him last week, didn't we?
I thought so. It was last week or the week before.
And I think I had him too. He's showing up in my stack here.
The great one-handed defensive genius.
13 years in the big leagues, Giants for 5, Reds for 3, Mets for 2, and then a bunch of other teams, including your Seattle Mariners and my Oakland Athletics. 1990, good news for me, All-Star.
Oy.
Also got MVP votes. Hit 290, 360 on base, 544 slugging, 35 home runs, 93 RBI. He was the National League MVP the year before. I don't think I need that help particularly, though. Still a 150 OPS plus and a 4.1 WAR.
Yeah, I think you got me.
I think I'm feeling pretty confident in this one. He was traded for some guys with good nicknames as well. He was traded for our buddy Dave Dravecki, but also Craig Def Leppertz and Norm Charlton, the sheriff.
Nice.
don't think he's got a good rap sheet, but no charges were filed. Also, he had a tough life, and there are some rumors went around that have been proven false about him. But I will take that win. I am up 2-1. No, this is going to be a quick one because you're going to blow me away here.
Okay, good.
You've got a Diamond Kings card, but it's Steve Sachs.
Nice.
So, of course, Steve Sachs is going to get you huge points because he was on both Sabrina the Teenage Witch and The Simpsons.
Yes.
Let's just take a quick peek here. We don't need to go too much in depth here.
You don't know when to keep your mouth shut, do you, sexy boy?
I just want to, again, reiterate, I think possibly the best actor amongst baseball players that have appeared in, I mean, maybe not Bob Uecker, but I mean contemporary modern players that have not made it their career. He was really good on Sabrina, especially compared to the other players that were on Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, which he wasn't given a lot to work with. I'm not going to lie. 1990, good news for you, All-Star. Doesn't even matter. 260, 316, 325 slash, 4 home runs, 42 RBI, 43 stolen bases, an 80 OPS plus, and a 1.4 WAR. He was an all-star as well, and he's got real stirrups in here, and you get the whole 2 extra points of WAR for the pop culture. So congratulations to there, because you're going up against third baseman for the California Angels. It is Jack Howell.
Okay. I do remember him.
I do as well, but not from Sabrina the Teenage Witch or The Simpsons. Right. Let's see. Jack Howell, 11 years in the big leagues, 9 with the Angels, 2 with the Astros, 1 with the Padres. In 1990 with the California Angels, 228 average, 326 on base, 370 slugging. Let's see. 8 home runs, 33 RBI, 3 stolen bases, no caught stealing, which makes up for his no stolen bases, 3 caught stealing the year before. 98 OPS plus and a 1.0 even WAR. So if it wasn't for the pop culture references, this would have been a close one.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because those are great references. Also went on and played for the Yakult Swallows and the Yomiuri Giants. Hit for the cycle with the Swallows even.
Oh, nice.
So good job there, but nothing else there. So that's going to give the win to you. And we're tied up at 2 apiece.
It's a battle.
All right. This is going to be a barn burner here. You've got utility infielder for the Chicago Cubs, Kurt Wilkerson, which I think, didn't he go by Curtis?
Yeah, I think he did. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I see Kurt. Well, Baseball Reference has Kurt and then Wikipedia has Curtis. I seem to remember him as Curtis Wilkerson. Overall, 11 years in the big leagues, 6 with Texas, 2 with the Cubs and Royals, 1 with the Pirates. Just a utility infielder. Played everywhere. 1990 with the Cubs, 220 average, 249 on base, 258 slugging. Maybe this won't be that close. No home runs, 16 RBI free, 36 OPS plus, and a minus 1.3 WAR. For a utility infielder, not a great stick, and apparently not great defense. Just versatility, I guess, is
a bummer.
What kept them around so long. Oh, but boy, he was traded by the Rangers with a bunch of guys, Mitch Williams, Steve Wilson, and a couple of minor leaguers to the Cubs for Drew Hall, Jamie Moyer, and Rafael Palmeiro. So he had definitely had value for sure.
Yeah, apparently so.
Nothing else, though, is going on here in pop culture or anything else that's going to help you. Oh, he does have a beard, but he's got 2-1s. So that will be a minus 1.3. And you're going to be going up against pitcher for the Royals, Jeff Montgomery. So I'm feeling confident.
I think you got this one.
Let's see. Jeff Montgomery, 13 years in the big leagues, 12 with the Royals. Apparently came up with Cincinnati. Played his first year there, and then after that, it was all Kansas City all the time. 1990 for the Royals, he went 6-5 with a 2.39 ERA. All of that out of the bullpen, 24 saves, 94 innings pitched, 81 hits, 94 strikeouts. That's pretty good. 162 ERA plus, and a 1.9 WAR. Well, he's got real stirrups on here. They look very suspicious, but I can see some space in between the back one. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think he was roided up.
Nah.
Oh, appeared in an instructional video titled "The Fundamentals of Pitching" with Jeff Montgomery.
That sounds fundamentally correct.
Fundamentally, I think that's a good thing. It looks like he's been doing pre and post game show for the Royals. At least he was. Nice. And is a Royals Hall of Famer. But all right, I will take that. I think that's 3-2 now.
3-2 now, yeah.
We got a couple of expos going head to head here, Mark. Your guy, catcher Nelson Santavenia.
Okay. Nelson
Santavenia. Transylvania. Santavenia. It's the neighboring country. It's also near Pennsylvania. 7 years in the big leagues, 5 with Montreal, Royals and White Sox for 1 apiece. In 1990 with Montreal, wow. Backup catcher. I mean, he was that's kind of what he did. Hit 190 with a 2.22 on base and a 3.31 slugging. I don't know why I said it that way. 6 home runs, 28 RBI, a 53 OPS plus for a minus 1.1 WAR. He does have a mustache, though.
Okay, so got that.
That'll be a minus. That'll be a -1. Now, he doesn't have Mims bands on, but he's got these starter sweatbands that have a big Expos logo on it. And because of that, I'm going to give you a 1/10 of a point for that.
Nice. Okay.
Because the Expos are just, it looks great. First round draft pick by the Expos in 82.
This is interesting. July 28th, 1989, Vince Coleman was caught stealing by Santavenia, ending Coleman's major league streak of 50 consecutive stolen bases.
Does that record still stand? I think we've talked about it, and I seem to think it had been. I want to say it's been broken, but there's no way that's been broken.
50 consecutive. That's amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about that next week. Let's put that down and talk about that next week. Yeah, nothing else there is going to help you, though. So that's a -0.9. And you will be going up against his battery mate, who, I hate to tell you, definitely has a 0.2 of a point mustache. It's pitcher Kevin Gross.
Definitely a mustache.
I mean, he might not even have an upper lip under that thing. I can't tell. Probably most known for the Phillies, I think, Kevin Gross. 15 years in the big leagues, Philadelphia for 6, Dodgers for 4, Montreal and Texas for 2, and then Anaheim for 1. 1990, he went 9-12 with a 4.57 ERA. Mainly a starter, 26 games started, a couple out of the bullpen. 1 shutout, 2 complete games, 1 shutout, 163 innings pitched, 171 hits, 111 strikeouts for an 80 ERA plus and a 0.5 WAR. You get the mustache points there. I'm guessing there's probably not going to be a lot of pop culture references around Kevin Gross out.
He was suspended.
Oh, for what?
For scuffing. He was carrying around some sandpaper.
Now, when we talk about being suspended, generally we talk about for domestic kind of things. Do we want to? If you get in a brawl, we're not gonna count that. Do we want to count cheating?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay. I was gonna say yes, but
I'm all in favor of scuffing the ball.
Okay. Well, let's see. He was a first-round draft pick by the Phillies in 81, and they traded him to the Expos for Jeff Parrott and Floyd Yeomans. Floyd Yeomans gets that Simpsons pop culture points.
Nice.
Remember when Estevan Yan and Floyd Yeomans are brought up just randomly?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, crazy. Let's see. Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame.
That's like a small room.
Now get this, in 1990, pitching for the Expos against the Dodgers, Gross and his opposite number that day, Fernando Valenzuela, both hit home runs off each other in the same inning.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is very crazy. But I will take the win. I am 1 away from putting this bad boy away. 4-2. All right, you get a guy we've talked about often. This is the actual baseball player, not the social media guy. Third baseman for the Twins, Gary Gaetti.
Master of the triple play.
Let's see, Gary Gaetti, the Rat. 20 years in the big leagues, 10 with the Twins, then the Cardinals, Royals, Angels for 3 apiece, and the Cubs and Boston for parts of seasons. 1990 with Minnesota. 229 average, 274 on base. Wow, that's not good. 376 slugging, 16 home runs, 85 RBI, 6 stolen bases, a 76 OPS plus, but that defense is going to get you a 2.6 WAR. He does have real stirrups on, so that'll be a 2.7 just at first blush. And we've had him enough. I don't think there's any pop culture, and I don't think he was nicked for anything. Overall, 11th overall pick in the first round, just like Kevin Gross was. But this in the 1979 draft by the Twins. Was never traded, ever, in his entire career. Looks like he has been around, still been around baseball, but nothing else that's going to help you out there. But that's a 2.7. And you're going up. Now, I know this guy had like 1 or 2 okay seasons. I'm hoping it was 1990. Outfielder for the Pirates, John Cangelosi.
John Cangelosi. White Sox, right? Or a bunch of teams, probably.
Yeah, he's with the Bucks, pictured here. 13 years in the big leagues. Bucks for 4. Fish, Astros, White Sox for 2. Rangers, Mets, Rockies for 1. In 1990, not a great year. He had some decent years. He was kind of a fourth outfielder type. Let's see, in 1990 with the Bucks, a 197 average, 307 on base. Still had a better on base percentage than Gaetti, though. 224 slugging, no home runs, 1 RBI, 7 stolen bases, 52 OPS plus for a minus 0.2. He's got 2 and 1s and a 5 o'clock shadow. So I don't think that's gonna do it for me. Nothing that's gonna help me out there. So that's gonna go to you. You've tightened it up now. It's 4-3. You have got third baseman for the Cubs, Kevin Alka-Seltzer.
Nice. Batting coach for the Mariners now.
Oh, is he? Nice.
Yes.
I know he was the batting coach for Atlanta when they won the World Series, and then they canned him or something the next year. See what he does for your guys. Overall, 12 years in the big leagues. Kansas City for 6, Milwaukee for 5, Cleveland for 2, and then one very forgettable year, I guess, since I don't really remember it, with the A's in 93. 1990 for the Royals, though, 275 average, 346 on base, 370 slugging, 6 home runs, 38 RBI for a 103 OPS plus, and a 3.2 WAR. Pretty good total. He's definitely got real stirrups on, and he's got eye black as well. Like real thick eye black. Like if it was a mustache, it would be 0.2 of a point.
Nice.
But alas, it is eye black, so we're not going to do that. Runner-up, Rookie of the Year, 1987. Unfortunately, that was for him. That was Mark McGwire's rookie year.
Made it a little rough.
Yeah, nobody was gonna beat him there. Nothing that's going to help you. We've talked about him plenty before. That's going to get you a 3.4 WAR, and you're going up against an MVP card for me, for Cleveland. Pitcher Greg Swindell. I think this is going to be close.
Swindell was a solid pitcher.
Yeah. Overall, 17 years in the big leagues, 7 with Cleveland, Arizona, Houston for 4, Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Boston as well. 1990... coming off his first and only All-Star year, the year before. Let's see, 1990, he went 12-9 with a 4.40 ERA, 214 innings pitched, 245 hits, 135 strikeouts, 89 ERA plus, for a WAR of 1.4. Not that great. He had a 4.2 the year before and a 3.8 after, but the year I get...
You got the middle one.
Yeah, I got the middle child syndrome there. First round draft pick, second overall in 1986. Looks like we're going the distance on this bad boy.
He has a brother named Corky. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Not a lot of Corkies. I've never met a Corky in person.
Is that his name or a nickname?
It just says he has 2 sisters, Triva and Christy, and a brother, Corky.
I wonder if anybody named Corky is ever been described as quirky.
Quirky. That's tough.
And what I'm just wondering, is that a family name? I want to know the history of the first name Corky if it's not a nickname.
Anybody named Corky listen to the show? Let us know.
And I'm interested here in Wikipedia. After that fact, it says two sisters, Treva and Christy, spelled very weird, and a brother, Corky. There's no period after it. This sentence is not finished. Like, there's more information that's being censored from us, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a serious accusation you're making.
Yeah. All right. So we're going the distance here. This is it. This is sudden death.
This is for all the marbles.
4-4. And I don't like my chances because you've got a Hall of Fame pitcher with a mustache.
Oh, nice.
You have got for the Tigers, Jack Morris. Silence from your
Jack. We've talked about Jack a few times.
Let's make this quick. 18 years in the big leagues, 14 with Detroit, Toronto, Minnesota, Cleveland. 1990, he went 15-18 with a 4.51 ERA. He's 35 years old. He did make the All-Star team the next year and came in fourth in Cy Young voting the next year. 1990, though, he did lead the league in starts. Durable guy. Also led the league in starts the next year as well.
He pitched a ton.
As well as leading the league in complete games with 11.
Wow.
Of his 18 years pitching, he had 11 years with double figures in complete games.
That's
including 1883, where he had 20 complete games. Also led the league in earned runs allowed this year, though. Overall, an 89 ERA plus and a .7 WAR. Now, you do get the Hall of Fame bonus, and I'll give you 2/10 on the mustache. It's not his best, but it's okay. So that's going to be a 1.9 WAR. Now, I know he got fired, I think, from the announce booth for some insensitive comments that he made.
Interesting. Jack Morris had 19 appearances as a pinch runner.
Well, do you remember, though, that used to be a thing? Like, if you didn't want to, maybe early in the game, managers wouldn't want to burn a position player.
Yeah.
Or so, I mean, there were just pitchers that were starters that were quick, and they would pinch run them. I absolutely remember that happening.
He's the only player in the Hall of Fame to have more runs scored than plate appearances.
That's a great stat,
awesome.
Though. Nothing else here that's going to hurt or help you. Overall, that's a 1.9, and you are going up against Brewers' second baseman. Now, this guy was all over the Daily Walk-Off today. I did all 30 teams in the Daily Walk-Off today, by the way.
Wow.
Jim Gantner here with the Brewers.
Did I get my Hall of Fame points?
Yes. You did. And it's still only a 1.9. Jim Gantner famously wore glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Also, unfortunately, is wearing 2-1s here, so that's not cool. He's got a mustache on Baseball Reference, but I don't see it here. Overall, 17 years in the big leagues, every single one of those with the Milwaukee Brewers. Unfortunately, he was 37 years old in 1990. He still played 2 more years with over 100 games each year, though.
Wow.
For the Brewers. In 1990, 263 average, 328 on base, 319 slugging, no home runs, 25 RBI, 18 stolen bases, and only caught thrice for a 37-year-old. Pretty good.
Wow.
83 OPS plus. The year before led the league in hit by pitches.
Okay.
And that is good for a WAR of 1.0. Now, is there any way I can scrape up one extra whole run above?
I'm not seeing it.
I'm guessing not.
He was affectionately called Gumby because of the way he turned double plays. Okay. That's different.
He's on the Brewers Wall of Honor and the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame.
We almost had Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame as a point, yes. But we voted it down.
His defensive WAR of 9.9 is the best in team history.
Wow.
How about this for pop culture reference? Silent partner of Hale Park Automotive Services in Hales Corner, Wisconsin. No.
Wow. He's not so silent anymore.
We kind of blew up his spot there. Also is a partial owner, or at least was, I don't know if he still is, of a bar in Eden, Wisconsin called Scud's Buds. No? Nothing?
That's awesome. No, it's really cool, but
Darn it. Well, that was a close match. Every one of these was pretty close, but you're going to go ahead and take the W on that, and that'll bring you up to 13. I'm only ahead by 1. It's 14-13. Well,
it's been quite a comeback for us. We were down pretty harshly.
Yeah, it has been. So congratulations to you. That is going to do it for this Wax Packs Heroes. Also going to do it for this episode of Two Strike Noise. If you want more of us, I'm telling you, go to YouTube. You can watch a video that I'm really proud of. You can find all of the links to all of our socials in the show notes, or you can just Google Two Strike Noise. We've not been shadow banned there as far as I know, but probably come soon. Also, we have an email address that Mark likes to look after.
Yeah, you can write to us at Two Strike Noise, spell it out, TWO, strike noise @gmail.com.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Please join us again next week as we do this all over again for another episode of Two Strike Noise.
Thank you all. God bless you. Have a great day.